Welcome to our new setup. With wedding season in full swing, we've had to find a new pocket of time to film these videos. And since we don't actually need sleep, it seems like nighttime it is. Seeing as we just posted our Portugal travel video a couple weeks ago, along with the fact that our Hawaii gear flat lay is one of our most tagged and reposted images on Instagram, we thought it was the perfect time to make a video highlighting what's in our travel gear bag. Traveling has always been a huge source of inspiration and a big part of our lives together. We've been to a great number of incredible places, and while we've always made a point of documenting them through photo, we'd be lying if we said we hadn't been dying to see what we could create on the video front. So after tons of research and thought, we put together a killer travel kit. This past year alone, it's come with us to Hawaii, Portugal, a very snowy Quebec, and a number of smaller shoots that don't require the full outside-in arsenal. It's versatile enough to include absolutely everything we need to make a beautiful travel film, while still being broken down into smaller setups depending on our plans and activities for the day. So let's kick it off with the most important part of this kit, the bag that will be housing all your gear. If you're like us and you constantly shoot on the C100s and 200s, you need a bag that can accommodate the larger size of these cameras, and that's where the Low Pro Tactic 450 comes in. Now this might actually be the perfect camera bag, and we love it so much that it actually comes with us on a lot more than just travel. We have all sorts of different divider configurations to fit just about any single camera shoot, but when we travel, this is our go-to setup. We can fit a C100 with the Canon 24L, an 85L, a DSLR with a 35L, a Mavic Pro, all necessary filters and adapters, chargers for everything, a MacBook Pro, dongles, card readers, tools, passports, and a dozen other accessories that we sneak into all the different compartments. A few of our favorite things in no particular order. It opens up from the back, so you can walk around knowing it's not going to break open on you, or that someone can easily unzip and snag some of your gear. It has a tucked away rain cover that has actually saved us a handful of times. A chest and waist strap to save your back a little bit. And easy access points on the top and side, which we've maximized so that we can quickly pull out the C100 or the DSLR or the drone when we're out and about. Once we've configured the interior, we use the strap system to buckle a Crane 2 on one side and a GorillaPod on the other. Before we move on, yes, a fully stocked bag with everything we've mentioned is heavy. But once you're at your hotel or Airbnb and can do away with the laptop, the chargers, and some of the accessories that you don't need when actually shooting, you're left with a much more manageable setup. Next we have the C100 Mark II. There's not much to say here, everybody knows this is our go-to favorite camera. Both our Portugal and Hawaii travel videos were shot on the C100, but you can easily swap this out for a C200 if you need to shoot RAW or 4K. Have I mentioned that there's links to all these products in the description? We also bring a separate DSLR for a photo, but on our next trip, we're actually thinking of doing something crazy and just bring what's quickly becoming our new favorite camera, the Canon EOS R. Now we haven't used this as a main camera here in Toronto, but can see this becoming the perfect travel companion that would allow us to combine our video and photo cameras into one tiny package. It does dual pixel autofocus with a fully selectable and customizable focus point, does face and eye recognition, shoots C-Log, and with the drop-in ND filter adapter, you have one beastly camera on your hands. Lens-wise, we bring the 24L, the 35L, and the 85L with IS. These are our go-to focal lengths for photo and video. The 24L sits on the C100 pretty much the entire time, the 35L sits on the DSLR pretty much the entire time, and the 85L is sitting on the sidelines, biding its time to create some jaw-dropping imagery. This past year, we've upgraded all our cards to the Sony Tough 128GB SD cards. These are bend, dust, dirt, water, temperature, X-ray, magnet resistant, which basically means they're a travel essential. These feel a lot stronger than your typical SD card, but what really sold us is that they have a V90 rating, which means that they're guaranteed to maintain a minimum write speed of 90 megabytes a second. This is a must-have if you plan on shooting in all-eye mode on the Canon EOS R, but it's also peace of mind when shooting on finicky cameras like the C200, which don't play well with all SD cards. Next we have our Mavic 2 Pro. Now we're not very big fans of drones. Maybe it's a stylistic bias or the fact that it's pretty much impossible to fly one in Toronto without intense restrictions, but will usually offer an incredible perspective from the ground than one from the air. Having said that, the better bitrate and color profile on the Mavic 2 makes it a lot easier to cut with Canon cinema footage, and they're still pretty fun to fly, so. Then we have the Crane 2. We shoot 90% of our travel videos with this little guy. Yes, we did an entire video on how to mount a C100 on a crane, but I don't think we really touch on how great of a travel gimbal this is. And while you'll probably notice some quirks when shooting at 24p, when shooting on slow-mo, we can achieve some pretty incredible shots. And lastly, we have the GorillaPod 5K, which we throw a Manfrotto plate adapter on so that we can easily bounce back and forth from the crane. We don't use it a whole lot, but it's been essential the few times we've needed it. And when shooting at 60p, you can pretty much handhold an 85 on it. And that's really all there is to it. Again, there's links to everything in the description so that you can get to building your own travel kit in no time. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and give us a follow on Instagram so you can stay up to date with our comings and goings. And if there's anything that you'd like us to tackle in a future video, comment below or send us a DM on Instagram. Till next time.